Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Power Rangers 1, the first issue in one of the two brand new Power Rangers comic series. If you didn't know, after Mighty Morphin and Go-Go ended, we have two new series that are debuting in the last 2 weeks. The first one was Mighty Morphin, which is effectively a direct continuation of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, and this one, simply titled Power Rangers, is basically a spin-off series for the Omega Rangers about their adventures in space. Although, as we saw in the debut issue, we will likely be getting stories where they intersect, like reading mmpr 1, or Mighty Morphin 1, MM1. M&Ms sound good right now. Reading Mighty Morphin 1 and then this one, it almost feels like, you know, with issue 1 and issue 2, they're probably going to be more separate from here on out, but there will also likely be times when they intersect when the two teams meet. But this basically focused on setting up the Omega Rangers arc, just like we started laying the groundwork for the Mighty Morphin arc in Mighty Morphin. I've said Mighty Morphin so many times already. Pick up with the Omega Rangers training. They're on their way to Namek to fight Frieza. It's just a cool sequence, just getting you a little bit of their day-to-day vibe. And they're about to head back to Earth because they head back to Earth to regroup with the other Rangers for kind of a little vacation to go back home and visit Earth, visit their friends, visit their family, all that jazz, but also update Zordon. At the command center, and they update Zordon on the Imperials, and they're like, we need to watch out for this First Order stuff too in Exegol. No, the Imperials, the enemy we found out about in their final little arc bit in the original Mighty Morphin. Zordon says he knows nothing about him. That seems to be true. I feel like I'm still a little suspicious of something he might know. He says not that he remembers, so there's a chance that he might know something but forgot, mainly because in Mighty Morphin 1 there was a bit of a flashback and it didn't necessarily involve Imperials yet, but I could see that tying potentially in, since even though these are two separate stories, I get a feeling there's going to be some connected storylines as well. But basically they're there to warn them, and they find out Draken's there, and the Omegas want to see Draken, and they want to use Draken's knowledge of the Imperials because the Imperials is what Draken was running from, but Zordon is having none of it. He doesn't want Draken let out. He thinks it's far too risky. Then we get a nice couple scenes back at the juice bar of everyone just hanging out, and there were several nice little moments within it, just everyone catching up. Zach kind of makes some funny jokes about like, oh, the Peace Conference, visiting all these different places is like visiting different planets. And there's like a really actually kind of intense scene between Trini and Tommy, because Tommy's like, yeah, Draken can't be let out. I know you saw this world explode, but what's one world, you know, compared to the universe? And she's like really mad about it because she's actually seen it firsthand. And that's kind of one of the reoccurring bits in this, is that the Omegas have a little bit of a larger scope, while the MMPR team is very much here on Earth. The Omegas really see that there's people in trouble everywhere, and she even says a line I really like. She said, you know, not every planet that's in danger out there is lucky enough to have Power Rangers on it. But my favorite scene during the juice bar sequence is actually between Jason and Rocky, who are sparring, and Rocky kind of talks to Jason saying, you know, are you disappointed in me basically as a choice for Red Ranger because you were leader, Grace was leader, even Trini was leader when you guys did the color swap arc, and you know, I'm not really the leader. And I thought that was cool just to kind of address that, because that's something obviously that was very different, especially because of the way the TV show transitioned it, because Jason's actor was on the way out, Tommy was popular, and so they kind of put some Rocky in a position where he wasn't really the leader on purpose. And I like that they addressed that within here. I thought it was pretty cool, and it also kind of reminded me a little bit of the arc, in a way, in a different perspective, but in the arc in Zeo when Rocky felt really self-conscious when Jason came back on the team. If they ever get to anything with Zeo, whether it's ongoing series or another annual, I would love to revisit this again in comic form. I just really liked it. And as with all the characters, I really like Rocky in this one so far. I feel like we're finally getting little moments, in starting with this, of the new trio of Rangers. I feel like they were kind of pushed to the back in the Omega's arc, outside of there being a little drama about the team having a hard time working together. And in this one, I got like some nice vibes from Rocky. Like, I like him. I like all the comic versions better than the TV show versions, but I just found him to be kind of funny, and I feel like we're hopefully starting to get more character time for Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. But I really liked that scene. But basically, you know, after they have the nice day at the juice bar, they're gonna break Draken out, and Alpha and Zordon install protocols to keep Draken safe, but the Omegas break in. It's so sick. I love the Omegas, and there's this really cool sequence of them breaking him out, and then when they break him out, Alpha catches him, and Draken done punches Alpha. I don't know why. I found it really satisfying. Maybe it's because I've always been more of an Alpha 6 fan. But anyway, they break out, and Zordon finds out, and he's mad, and he's like, you know, this is a huge betrayal. Everybody betray me. I fed up with this world. And so he's gone full Tommy Wiseau. Everyone knows Zordon's been Tommy Wiseau this whole time. You are tearing me apart, Jason! But anyway, and then Jason says, you know, your way's not the only way, Zordon. You know, there's also, this is the way. I follow the Mandalorian code. Baby Yoda Dakota for life. Space, and then we have our squad goals picture with, you know, the Omegas and Draken and their tiger alien thing that they let out earlier that was one of the things that got powers. And of course Z or G or Mentor G, Jason. So I thought it was another solid issue. Just like Mighty Morphin 1, it didn't blow me away or anything, but I thought it was a very solid, enjoyable, and somewhat exciting setup to the new issue. I really just like the Omegas a lot. Like, their suits have grown on me so much, I really want figures of them. I love the whole concept of them. I think it's one of the coolest things that come out of the comics and making use of the peace conference. And I just like them as a team. I like a little bit of the roguish nature of them. I've always kind of been more of a vigilante guy versus an organization guy, so, and I like Jason defying Zordon. I think there's going to be some interesting stuff with Draken. You know, Draken says he's not going to be very helpful. He's obviously going to be a bit of a wild card. We're definitely taking him more off the board for being the Green Ranger. Again, I don't think he's going to be, but I just don't want to say never, because you never know with this type of thing. But I think it sets up a really interesting dynamic. Jason does say, welcome to the Omega Rangers. I get a feeling they're going to suit Draken up at some point again. I don't know whether it'll be his Draken suit, or maybe he'll get an Omega suit. There is the blue powers, unless it was sealed in there with Kia. What a great idea. But if he does become an Omega, just don't make him the green Omega. That's probably going to happen now, but just don't. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this dynamic and seeing what potential consequences come from Zordon. And there was also some really nice character moments in here, just in terms of how all the Rangers deal with the different situations. Like I said, one of my favorite parts of the issue was just the conversation between Rocky and Jason, not only for Rocky's sake in addressing that interesting dynamic, but it really highlighted why I like comic Jason so much, because I think he's such a good leader without really knowing it. Like, he's like, you know, our leader was killed, the emissary, and I'm just kind of flying blind. And that's kind of the way that they've played comic Jason here, where he's like a good leader, but he doesn't really realize it, and he kind of weighs the responsibility really heavy on his shoulders, and I really like that. But yeah, very solid start to this arc. I would get an 8.5 as well. What did you think? Are you excited for the Omega Rangers news stories? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications from my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.